It was a crisp Saturday morning in Maple Grove, the kind where the air smells faintly of dew and the world feels soft around the edges. I was on my porch, cradling a chipped mug of chamomile tea, watching a cheeky sparrow wrestle a worm from the damp grass. The neighborhood hummed with its usual quiet kids giggling faintly down the street, a lawnmower droning in the distance. Then it came, a guttural, mechanical roar that tore through the calm like a knife. It wasn't a truck or a dog. It was alien, violent, and it made my mug clatter against my teeth. A sickening crunch followed wood splintering, plants screaming as they were ripped apart. My heart lurched, a cold dread settling in my gut, the kind I usually save for Monday mornings at my day job. I knew what that sound meant. The mug hit the deck as I bolted down the steps, my feet pounding across the lawn toward the community green at the end of our cul-de-sac. This wasn't just any patch of grass. This was the Harmony Garden, a haven born from months of bake sales, late-night grant writing, and countless volunteer hours, many of them mine, stolen from evenings after long office days. It was a therapeutic space designed for kids with disabilities in our neighborhood. Raised beds, low enough for wheelchairs, burst with safe VY brand plants. A sensory path of smooth stones, soft moss, and cool sand wove through it all. Wind chimes, tuned to soothe anxious minds, sang gently from custom trellises. Every plant velvety lamb's ear. Sturdy rosemary was chosen for touch or scent. It was more than a garden. It was a sanctuary. Or it had been. As I rounded the weeping willows at the entrance, the sight hit me like a punch. A garish yellow bulldozer, its scoop smeared with dark earth and mangled greenery, was tearing into the raised beds. Marigolds, symbols of hope, were churned into mud alongside lavender and mint. The wheelchair-accessible path, made of durable wood, lay buckled, its pieces jutting like broken bones. And there, arms crossed, a smug grin twisting her sharp features, stood Linda Harper, treasurer of the Maple Grove Homeowners Association. Linda, with her fanatical devotion to the HOA's rules, was a woman who thrived on control. Her lips, always pinched in disapproval, curled into a smile as she spotted me. "Oh, Ms. Bennett," she called, her voice slicing through the bulldozer's growl, just ensuring compliance. "This structure," she waved at the wreckage, "never got full board approval for its materials, per Section 4, subsection B of the landscaping addendum." The bulldozer operator, a burly guy with a blank stare, glanced at her, then me, before shrugging and resuming his work. His machine's teeth sank into a bed of mint. The mint little Emma Chun, nonverbal and autistic, loved to bury her face in, her rare smiles lighting up the world. Rage surged through me, so fierce my knees nearly buckled. "Linda," I said, my voice a low growl that startled even me. "What in God's name are you doing?" She tooted, a sound like brittle leaves. "Language, Ms. Bennett. I'm upholding community standards. This garden has violation approved edging, planters 3 inches too tall, an irrigation system without triplicate forms." I issued warnings. Warnings? Oh, she bombarded our small volunteer group with nitpicking emails, citing bylaws so obscure they needed a lawyer to decode. We naively thought we could appease her, redrafting paperwork, compromising on planter heights. We never dreamed she'd escalate to this. This wasn't enforcement. This was war. "You had no right," I snapped, gesturing at the carnage. "This is for kids with disabilities, their therapy, their joy." Her eyes, cold and empty, narrowed. "Rules are rules, Ms. Bennett. Exceptions unravel our community. One unapproved flower today, a tacky gazebo tomorrow. Besides," she flicked her wrist, "it's an eyesore with all those odd contraptions." Odd contraptions? The Braille-labeled seed packet stand for blind kids. The water feature calming sensory disorders. The rage in me cooled into something sharper, deadly. She didn't see the joy on 9-year-old Noah Lee's face when he harvested his first tomato from a wheelchair-height planter. Or 11-year-old Arya Patel, with crippling anxiety, stroking Lamb's ear, her tense features softening. "Stop this now," I said, my voice flat, heavy with a weight I rarely used. Linda laughed, a harsh bark. File a complaint, Ms. Bennett. I saw the HOA. The bulldozer roared, crushing a mosaic birdhouse the kids had painted, each tile a feather, a piece of sky. That was it. The dam broke. Linda had no idea who she was dealing with. I'm Claire Bennett, Director of the State Disability Protection and Advocacy Agency. By day, I navigate bureaucracies, fight for funding, and investigate abuse to make our state fair for people with disabilities. In Maple Grove, I'm just Claire, the quiet neighbor who gardens and keeps to herself. I never advertised my job. It wasn't relevant when borrowing sugar or chatting about leaves. The Harmony Garden was my passion project, sparked by a local support group. I'd offer discreet advice on grants and accessibility, even donated specialized tools anonymously. It was a slice of the good I fought for on a grand scale. Linda's tyranny wasn't new. Her reign as HOA treasurer brought fines for trivial infractions for uncolored mailboxes, disruptive gnomes. Most of us paid to avoid her harassment. But this was malice. It started 2 weeks earlier with a letter slipped under Sophie Kim's door, the garden's general coordinator and mom to twins with cerebral palsy. Written in Linda's spiky scrawl, it demanded the garden's dismantling for unauthorized installations. Sophie, tears in her eyes, showed me the letter. We had permission, she whispered. Mr. Larson, the HOA president, signed off last spring. But Larson, an elderly rose enthusiast, was on an Alaskan cruise, unreachable. Linda had pounced. We held an emergency meeting in my Lee-ing room. Sophie, Noah's dad, James Lee, a mechanic with soil-stained hands, and others. I urged calm, suggesting a polite response with testimonials from therapists. Our letter, heartfelt and thorough, was met with a colder threat of fines and remedial action. Linda refused meetings, communicating only through icy emails. Then the water to the garden spigot was cut off. Linda claimed maintenance, but only the garden suffered. We hauled water in cans, backbreaking for parents already stretched thin. The kids watched their plants wilt, Noah's chatter fading into silence. Signs the kids painted vanished overnight. When Sophie confronted Linda, she smirked. Unapproved signage is a violation. Maybe a fan of childish art took them. It was bullying, a campaign to break us. Then came the safety inspection. Linda, clipboard in hand, arrived with her brother-in-law, Mr. Fowler, a consultant with no credentials. They declared benches unsound and the sensory path a trip hazard, posting red, unsafe notices. Parents, scared of fines or injuries, kept kids away. The garden's joy was choked out. One night, I found James on a condemned bench, staring at Noah's dead tomato plants. "She's killing it, Claire," he said, voice raw. "The one place Noah feels normal." Sophie, joining us, looked at me with despair. I tried reasoning, contacting other HOA members, but they were cowed by Linda's relentless rule quoting. "She's not breaking major rules," one whispered, "just the spirit." Now, standing in the garden's ruins, diesel fumes burning my throat, I made my choice. "Linda," I said, my voice carrying the steel of depositions and legislative hearings, "you've made the biggest mistake of your life." She scoffed, but a flicker of unease crossed her face. "Turn off that machine." I ordered the driver, my gaze locked on his. He hesitated. "Keep going," Linda shrieked. I stepped forward. "I'm Claire Bennett, Director of the State Disability Protection and Advocacy Agency. This garden is a therapeutic facility for kids with disabilities. Your actions, Mrs. Harper, are malicious destruction of property, harassment, and violations of disability rights laws, including the ADA. Driver, move that machine 1 inch, and you're an accessory to a federal offense. Turn it off. Now." The driver's eyes widened. He killed the engine, the silence deafening. Linda's smugness vanished, her face ashen. "You can't," she stammered. "You're just a neighbor. You grow herbs." I pulled my credentials, the state seal glinting. "I'm the person whose agency prosecutes this kind of despicable behavior, or your bylaws?" "My laws have sharper teeth." I called 911, reporting the destruction and hate crime implications. Then I called Tom Rivera, my agency's legal head. Tom, Claire Bennett, I need a priority investigation. Maple Grove HOA. Targeted destruction of a therapy garden. ADA violations, discrimination, possible fund misuse. Police are coming. I'm the complainant. Residents gathered, shocked. Sophie arrived, sobbing at the wreckage. James's fists clenched, his eyes asking if this was it. I nodded. Linda tried a last stand as police lights flashed. This is an outrage, she cried to Officer Daniels. She's abusing her power over a compost bin citation. I presented my badge. Mrs. Harper hired this bulldozer to destroy a garden for disabled kids. Following weeks of harassment cutting water, false safety warnings. My agency has jurisdiction. Secure the scene and detain her. My team arrived investigators, a junior attorney, a photographer documenting the devastation like a crime scene. The driver, eager to cooperate, showed text from Linda ordering the unauthorized mess cleared. Tim Walsh, a timid HOA member, approached, offering emails pro-VY-ing Linda's deception. She said Larson gave her proxy, he stammered. Her brother-in-law never saw the garden. The next weeks were a storm. My agency subpoenaed HOA records, revealing Linda's pattern of harassing residents she disliked. She'd misappropriated funds for the bulldozer, adding felony embezzlement to her charges. Fowler, her consultant, admitted she dictated a sham report. Linda hired a slick lawyer, Victor Hayes, who countersued me for abuse of power and painted her as a VY Tim. Some residents wavered, swayed by his media blitz. But Sophie became a fierce advocate, GI-VYing inner VYUs that cut through the noise. James's rebuild, the Harmony Fund, gained traction, and the kids' drawings of their garden swayed hearts. The HOA board, minus Linda, collapsed. Larson, back from his cruise, was horrified and called a community meeting. The gymnasium was packed, tension thick. Larson apologized, voice breaking, and introduced me as the agency director. I detailed Linda's crimes, harassment, fraud, emotional harm to kids citing VY OLAP laws. Facing Linda, I said, your actions weren't just HOA violations. They were a betrayal of decency, a breach of laws protecting the vulnerable. The state will pursue criminal charges, including felony vandalism and embezzlement. Gasps echoed. Residents spoke, demanding a new HOA built on inclusion. Linda's countersuit was dismissed. Her rose garden found illegal, her assets seized. She was con VY Ted, sentenced to probation, community ser VYC, and a lifetime HOA ban. The HOA faced massive fines, funding the garden's rebirth and statewide training. The new Harmony Garden was a triumph. Volunteers, businesses, and architects rebuilt it bigger, brighter, with enhanced paths and a plaque honoring its story. The kids painted signs, chose plants, their laughter returning. At the dedication, Noah gave me a tomato, Aria a bouquet of lavender and lamb's ear, whispering, "Thank you, Ms. Bennett." As I watched them play, chamomile tea in hand, I felt peace. This wasn't just about Linda's fall. It was about change, new laws, stronger protections, a united community. The bulldozer's roar was gone, replaced by laughter, rustling leaves, and a neighborhood healed. What do you think? Did Linda deserve her punishment? Or was she just a stickler for rules gone too far? Should HOAs have this much power over communities? Could Claire have handled it differently? Or was her full force necessary? Drop your thoughts below. Hit like if this story gripped you, and subscribe for more tales of justice and drama.